Hey there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Monday Morning Motivation. Now, today we are focusing on recovery, and today I'm going to be talking about a foam roller. Now, I appreciate a lot of people might not have a foam roller, but I do encourage you to go and purchase one. They're pretty cheap. You can order one online, about £10. They do sell them in TK Maxx as well when the shops reopen. Fantastic tool for just helping us with our recovery. So if we've been training, or even if we've just gone for a long walk and we're feeling pretty sore in our lower back, maybe in our shoulders, maybe in our legs, it's a fantastic tool to just help to relieve that muscle soreness. It really starts to increase the blood flow back into the muscle, helps to break down kind of built up scars within the muscles. But it's also a fantastic way. It's a nice little exercise. So when you're lying on this, you're going to be rolling around. It's a really good way of actually engaging that core, thinking about your balance, and it's a fantastic tool. So I do encourage you to go and buy one. I do encourage you to try it. Today I'm going to go through a few techniques that we're going to try and target the entire body. Now, I appreciate that some of us are going to need to adapt some of these. I'm going to try and give you a couple of adaptive ways of using it. But guys, like I said, it is a great tool. Today is quite a chilled one. It's just about recovery. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something from it. So, what I do suggest is that you tuck your top into your trousers. And if you've got long hair, I suggest you tie it up. Because as you're rolling on this, you're going to end up mangling yourself. It's going to get caught, okay? So it's just better if you've got a hood, perhaps put that one up as well. So we're just going to start by our lower back. Place the foam roller lengthways down your back, and this is where you're just going to lift those hips off the ground, and you're going to try and use your lower limbs to try and pull you down just up to the shoulders and back up to the hips. Shoulders and hips, and you might just hear a few cracks and creaks as you go through this. Not a problem at all. It's a nice release. Now, I appreciate if we haven't got our lower limbs to do this one, you may have to find a way to use your hands where you can push yourself back and forth. You may even need to hold on to something to pull yourself in. You just need to find a way of adapting so that you can move on the roller. Another way is you could just simply lie over it. This time you want it across slightly higher up your back this time, just underneath those shoulder blades, and just relax over it and sit yourself back up. Not too far, just small movements to start with, and you'll just start to feel it loosen up through that back. You might even feel it through the core. And I'm not deliberately doing sit-ups here or an ab workout. We are simply just feeling it loosen up through our back. We can start to use our hands going over our head, and just do it in your own time. Do it in your own speed. Nice big stretch. Nice big stretch. Now we're going to go a little bit higher up to those shoulders. So this time you want to go between your neck and the bottom of your shoulder blades. The top of your neck, the bottom of your neck, I should say, to the bottom of your shoulder blades. You're not actually going on. It's quite a small movement. You should just feel it. Oh, might feel pretty pokey in places, pretty sore, a bit sensitive. Just keep going over those shoulder blades. If you find some of this like really sore, you can just hold it on top. And as you hold it on top, you just feel that pain kind of dispersed. That feeling of almost like a knot. You can feel it just getting less and less and just dispersing. And then you find another one. Oh. Like I said, it's a fantastic way of increasing that blood flow to particular muscle groups, particular areas. When we train, so the muscles on our back here, you would have done from the seated row that we've done with the bands, maybe even from the push-ups where we stabilize through our back muscles. If you're feeling sore within the muscle, just by going over this foam roller, it's just like a deep tissue massage. And I'm going to go on to our lats. And it just helps to really try and press out all those toxins, flush out all those toxins. So now we're just going on to the lats. So we're going from underneath the arm down to the bottom or the top of the ribs. Okay, so the bottom of the. You're not going over your muscles. You're not going over your. It's just quite small movements. Again, it's going to feel pretty pokey in places. I've got a spot just here. I'm just going to hold it on there just for a little bit. Just start to feel it ease off and relax. There we go again. Just quite a small movement. Oh, that's really sore. Okay, and on to the other side. So it just takes around 8 rolls, about 30 seconds or so per muscle group. That's all we're looking at to start with. So onto the other lat. So again, it's just underneath your armpit. So you're kind of going from, you want to think about the squidgy bit of your arm. So it's going from underneath your arm down to kind of top of the ribs there. You don't want to be going over your ribs at all. And you don't want to be going over the joint of your elbow, of your armpit either. So it's just that kind of tissuey bit, the lat, the muscly bit. This is quite a soft foam roller, so you shouldn't cause too much damage. I've got another one that's a trigger point foam roller that's really hard, and that really, really hurts. And same with this one again, you know, where you're pushing through that bottom leg. If we haven't got that, or that top leg I should say, if you haven't got that as an option, this is where you just need to be finding a variation. So maybe you're just doing it with your hand and you're just pressing through like this. It's just small movements. Okay, so we're going on to our chest. This time, we're going to do one chest at a time. So we're going to go from our chest down to our bicep. So you want to sit or kneel if you can with the roller over your pec, over your chest muscle, and just rolling it down and back over, just to the top of the bicep. If you've done a lot of push-ups, you might feel this being quite sore. Again, just roughly around 8 of these. It's not the easiest position to kind of get yourself into. So again, you might just need like a pillow underneath your hips just to help support yourself. You can even do this lying on the ground. You don't need to be on your knees for this one, but you're not going to get as far or as much weight onto the roller. So you can control how much weight you're putting on through the roller by how much body weight you press through it. Obviously, the less body weight, usually the less it hurts. Get roughly around 8 or so of these. It's a nice feeling. It certainly feels like warm up those muscles. Fantastic way to warm up before you start a circuit as well. We're now going to go onto our lower back, guys. So that's pretty much done. We're going to go back onto our lower back. We need a little bit more attention. So this time we're just going from to your mid back, which is the bit we missed to start with. And this, you can really feel it through that core, just stabilizing yourself. This is what's exercise, just where you're trying to support. And obviously, if you're using your lower limbs, you can feel it through those hamstrings as well. It's just a nice way to get active. It's a fantastic way to warm up. It really is. But even I'm doing this as a recovery day. Fantastic way to recover. So we're now moving on to our bum, our glutes. I suggest you do one cheek at a time, one glute at a time. And for this one, this does require a little bit of balance, okay? You're going to get a deeper massage if you bring your leg to the side. So if you open up that hip. Now, I appreciate that might not be an option for all of us. Again, it just needs to be through feel. So if you feel it, tender in a certain place, don't shy away from that. Those are the bits you want to be aiming. Those are that's what we're aiming for. That feeling, that's what I'm talking about, the pain dispersing. So I've got quite a sharp area there. Breathe through it. And you always feel like the muscle just relaxing back over it. And it just disappears. Oh, it melts away. I find the boots is quite a sore one. It's a bit of an odd one. Apologies, but I do really encourage you to get one of these foam rollers. If you've never tried one before and you're watching this, I do encourage you to get one. It's a great way of just creating a connectivity with your body. There's not very many options where it feels like to go through your back, what it feels like to work through those glutes. And I really believe in this kind of the feedback loop that we get, where you can press through a muscle group, and you can feel it work, and you can feel it firing up, you can feel where it hurts, and you build an awareness of your body through that. There's a really nice sort of feedback loop that you get from it. Appreciate that might not sound that interesting. I think that's enough on that side. Spent a lot of time on that one, sorry. Okay, on to the right. So this is where, if you've got a residual limb like myself, my hip is very underdeveloped. Condition I was born with, so I have to be very careful how much I do on my hip. But I wanted to show you, what is possible. So again, you're just keeping it really slow, really gentle. I'm using my other leg to kind of take some weight away from my hip because my hip is quite sensitive. So I'm using that. I've adapted it. Whereas for you guys, if your hips are sound, if your hips are very healthy, I'll be able to put all your body weight through it. There's a couple of really bumpy bits here. And I'm getting myself into a position. So I spoke to you at the beginning about perhaps opening your hip up to get deeper into that glute. Well, I haven't really got that option in this leg because of my range of motion. So I'm leaning further onto it, okay? So that's another way of, you just need to kind of have a bit of a roll, have a bit of a play, see where it feels. You're kind of looking for the most sensitive, the most painful part, which sounds crazy, but welcome to fitness. You're looking for that most painful part to work on, and eventually that painful bit is just going to get less and less, and you're going to feel better for it. Oh, that's probably about as much as I can handle on that one. Okay, so now we are going onto the front of our legs, our quads, and we're going to go lying face down, going from our hip down to our knee. So like I said, you never go over those joints. You never go over that knee joint especially. We're just going over the fleshy part of our leg. So going from our hips down to the top of our knee. So again, quite a small movement. You're just going to lie. You can go both legs at the same time, both thighs at the same time, and roll down and up. I don't find that is strong enough. And also I'm quite limited because my residual limb is so short. It means I'm only going so I'm going to do one leg at a time, okay? So I've got my residual limb off the edge, and I'm just using my arms to pull myself forwards and back. And again, this is where it becomes a bit of an exercise. It's almost like a moving plank that we're doing now. Just rolling back and forth, up and down that thigh. A little bit of twist. Trying to get that IT band involved. Onto the inside of your leg. And we'll go on to the other side. So this time, because I'm using my residual limb, I'll turn this way so you can see, it's going to be quite a short range of motion, okay? Because my my stump, my residual limb is so small, this is about as much range as I've got. Okay, I'm also going to use my other leg, my sound leg, off the floor, so I'm not putting all of my body weight through my residual limb. I would suggest if you have sensitive nerve endings at the end of your residual limb, you would take this one very, very slowly. I would also suggest that you start with a quite soft foam roller. If you haven't got a soft foam roller, then I'd potentially put a couple of pairs of shorts on. That might help, just take away some of that pain or some of the deepness, the hardness of the roller. Again, just rolling onto that side a little bit, trying to get the IT band involved. You might hear a few clunks and clicks. That's not a bad thing. Just keep going through it as long as you're not going over those joints. Okay, cool. We are going on to our hamstrings. So back of the leg. So it's quite a lot of sort of flipping around, and I appreciate that. Maybe I haven't done this in the best order. You could have probably done, you know, shoulders, mid back, lower back, glutes, hamstrings, calf muscles, and then rolled over. But I've just kind of done upper body, mid, lower body, and I've worked my way down that way. So yeah, if this is too much kind of flipping around for you, apologies, and you can kind of find your own way. But this is how when I do it, this is just the routine that I kind of go through. It's just a way of making sure I've got all the muscle groups done. I like to start with my upper body because for me, that's usually the bit that's most sore, just because of my sport, because of the style of training that I do. It's usually my shoulders, my lats, my chest that are really, really sore. So a fantastic thing that you'll get from foam rolling as well is you'll end up with better range of mobility. Okay, because when we work on our muscles, we're doing this, we're basically steamrollering our muscles. You're lengthening them. So like I said, you're increasing that blood flow. You're pushing out all those built up little scars within the muscle that you've perhaps caused through weight training or through doing some of the exercises that I've presented to you over the last number of months. And you just get soreness, delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, and then from that, you then get even more soreness, tension that gets built up over time. And it's really hard to kind of release that. We can try it by doing these sort of static stretches that we've perhaps been through before. But like I said, this is a great way. You can hear my voice, you know. It's a fantastic way of getting that heart rate up. It's getting that heart rate up because you're doing a movement, okay? But also it flushes it out as well as targets sensitive areas by breaking them down because it's a deep tissue massage. So just going through the hamstrings now. If you haven't got hamstrings, or if you haven't got residual limbs to be doing this to, then I'll go back onto your upper body. You can do this as many times as you like. Just do not go over those joints. Once you've done that, we're then moving on to our lower limbs. So obviously I've not got any hamstrings on this side, and I've also not got any lower limbs. I'm going to be going just onto my calf muscles here. This can be really sore, okay? So from your foot up to the top of your bottom of your knee, back down to that heel. Just rolling that foot around. And again, just using your arms to kind of push through this. Becomes a little bit of a workout. Again, just roughly around 8 or so of these. Oh, that's really sore. Because of the way that I walk, I use my calf muscles, my lower limbs, to really kind of raise my leg off the ground, which means I end up using this kind of flexion extension of my foot, the press, that calf muscle activation as I walk. I press off the ground. It just means I get a lot of use through my lower leg, and it just makes it very sore to foam roll. Okay. So this, like I I said, foam roller, cheap bit of kit, but fantastic. Really nice little workout. Good for recovery. Good to get you nice and warm, ready for a workout. But yeah, overall, fantastic bit of kit. Good stuff, guys. I hope that was interesting. I hope you managed to get something from that. Any questions, please do ask. You can contact me at jackayers.com, or you can contact Kira at Limpower and pass on any messages, and I'm more than happy to answer any messages about this workout or any of the previous workouts. Guys, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next week.